Basically, a week ago, Ukraine agreed to a unlimited, unconditional 30-day ceasefire. And then the question was put to Vladimir Putin, would he agree to the same thing? And the answer is no. He agreed to no ceasefire other than one which serves his interests because he doesn't want his oil refineries being struck by the Ukrainians. So he's willing to hold back on striking their electricity grid. But this is not the end of the war. This is not a ceasefire. This is Putin playing games. And I would say Putin disrespecting the views of Donald Trump in the United States. Trump has got all the cards. America is a major supplier of weapons to Ukraine. Trump could triple down, give Ukrainians much more weaponry, allow Ukrainians to use that weaponry to strike targets deep into Russia. Trump could use economic measures to cut off the flow of oil or the flow of dollars from oil out of Russia. There's a lot of cards Trump can play. The question is, does he want to play them? All indications are that he doesn't, but time will tell. If Trump decided to, he could bring the Russian economy to its knees. He could sanction the flow or the purchase of Russian oil by any oil purchaser in the world, and they would stop buying the oil. If they stopped buying the oil, Russia wouldn't get the hundreds of billions of dollars a year that they're currently getting, and then they wouldn't be able to afford to carry on with the war. Trump can do everything and anything. America is the most powerful country in the world. The US military is the most powerful military in the world. The American economy is the biggest economy in the world. If Trump decided that he wanted to end this war and he was ready to go after Putin, he could end this war very quickly. Well, Putin has been sending all sorts of messages. So right after the Ukrainians agreed to an unconditional ceasefire, Trump sent his emissary, Steve Witkoff, to Moscow. And Putin made Steve Witkoff wait for 8 hours before meeting with him, while Putin had a meeting with Alexander Lukashenko, the president of Belarus. And then when this phone call was supposed to take place between Trump and Putin, Putin made Trump wait while he finished a presentation to a group of Russian businessmen. And then, of course, while the phone call was taking place, there were attacks on Ukrainian civilian targets. And while Putin made a promise for a ceasefire against energy infrastructure, a couple hours later, the Russians hit Slovyansk in Ukraine, and where energy facilities there. And so I think one could easily say that Putin is thumbing his nose at Trump and disrespecting him in very material ways. Well, we just don't know what's going on between Trump and Putin. It doesn't make sense that Trump would have this affection for Putin and his affiliation with Putin when the vast majority of the American public don't think it's a good idea. The vast majority of Republican senators and members of the House of Representatives don't think it's a good idea. And so there's so much information we don't have. It's impossible to predict or understand why he's doing this, what drives him, and what might make him change his view on Putin. Well, all indications are right now that Trump is siding with Putin, not with Zelensky. And so I seriously doubt whether any American troops will be deployed under any circumstances in this conflict. I don't think that anyone is going to end up in World War III. I think that Trump's words are, words. At the end of the day, Trump is not going to start a war with Russia. Putin is not going to start a war with the West. It's going to carry on as it's been going. It's basically status quo for Ukraine. Ukraine has been under attack from Russia for more than 3 years. They defend themselves bravely and valiantly. They're inflicting incredible mortal damage on Russia. More than 898,000 soldiers have been either killed or wounded, Russian soldiers. The number of tanks is more than 10,000 that have been destroyed, Russian tanks, so on and so forth. And so the Ukrainians are doing what they can. They're using their tools effectively. They're coming up with their own tools. They've been able to figure out how to fight a war against a much bigger, much more well-resourced opponent, and nothing much has changed other than the attitude of the United States.